All right, moving over to substitute salaries.
As you already know, we, along with most of the districts on the island, are having pretty significant difficulty attracting substitutes, especially substitute teachers. Our superintendent and I met with Mr. Felicio a couple of weeks ago, and was brainstorming, and this is part of the result of that. We came up with a couple of conclusions. First of which is, we know that because we're using the internet now for selection of substitutes, what typically can happen is a particular teacher will select us on a Monday and then deselect us on a Wednesday, realizing that another district is paying $15 to $20 more per diem. So one of the things we thought we might do was to incentivize people staying with ConnectWise. And we thought we could do that by coming up with a formula that gradually rewards teachers for the frequency of their coming to us. Right now, as you know, the per diem amount is $100. We thought, just as a scenario, if we raised it to 120 and gradually went up to 150, that could form the incentive that we're looking for. This, again, is just a scenario. You can hold these numbers or different numbers if you prefer. One of the other things we thought is, we know that for the most part, our retirees are not interested in coming back for $100 a day. If we pay them $150 a day, we feel that we're tapping a very rich resource of knowledgeable people who have substantial experience, and we think that might help. One of the things to put this in perspective is, even with an attendance rate of staff of between 90 and 92%, that still is about 60 teachers we have to cover on any given day. It's a substantial amount of money, and what we're looking to do is to be at a competitive advantage rather than a disadvantage, and we think that this may be worthy of consideration. The next slide talks about not the per diem, the occasional per diem, but the person who's a longer-term sub. The distinction between this and the first slide is, these are people who substitute for the same teacher over a given period of time. So we thought, consistent with our current practice, we go from 100 to 120, and then after 60 days, as we do now, we put them on contract. I don't know how you feel about this, but we feel that this will certainly help us competitively.
What's the contract?
Contract is steps up.
What is a long-term sub getting now?
Long-term sub is...
That's your proposal? What are they getting now?
They're currently getting $100 to start, and gradually goes to 130, 150, and then on contract after 60 days. So what we're doing is we're bumping up the starting rate.
But a long-term sub would love to be a long-term sub in this district and get that money after 60 days. So why you change that part?
Well, you can't have a regular sub get in at 120 and have the long-term sub start at 100.
I thought we were at 110.
Right now we're at 100.
These are those two are proposals.
Now, those are proposals, but if you're going to change the daily sub, you can't have the long-term person working for less.
You got to keep both subs the same.
No one's going to want a long-term sub.
Oh, so
keep both sub salaries the same.
Well, I mean, I like some of the ideas based on we have the retiree, makes sense, all the sense in the world, because they will teach. Most of these subs, I don't know how much they teach. I don't know how long, if they're only class in one day. What about having TAs? What about, I don't know, if you're not talking long term, can the TA read what's left? For them to read, if the teachers, what do you call it, when you have or whatever worksheet for the day?
A ditto.
Huh? Sub-plans, so they have sub-plans all the time?
Those are concepts we did discuss. We thought maybe initially we'd like to see if this gets us to where we need to be, and if not, we can discuss additional alternatives for you.
But I also heard when this conversation initially started that what we're doing is giving a pay raise to the subs that are here. So, and there's no guarantee that we're going to get more subs. This is what I heard.
Right, and what we're looking to do, and that's a very valid counterpoint, what we're looking to do is to make us at a competitive advantage against the other districts. And I swear that that's going to happen again.
So we're going to jump from 100 to 120 just for 20 days. 20 days.
With the attraction being, if you stay with us, you'll get more.
I'm in favor of raising the sub pay. we definitely have to raise it. I'm not sure per diem compared to long-term. You almost would think that if you're hired long-term, you should get paid a little more than per diem.
We're certainly up to that.
I'm not in favor of having retired teachers get paid $150. Just because it's, again, like 2 months ago, we heard the public, and some of the problems in this district was that subs felt like they weren't treated in a respectful way, and that's why we're losing some subs. If you have someone with a master's degree, they might have teaching experience, they start subbing here and they're gonna get paid $120, and then they're gonna find out you're paying another sub $150, right away you're creating that kind of, I'm not, maybe animosity where it's unfair. To me, you should just pay, whatever you're gonna pay, you pay to everyone.
No disrespect, Craig, but this might be a conflict of interest because of your wife having a sub position, and just want to ensure that it's, shouldn't be a conflict.
I'm not starting something.
Okay, so speak away.
Anyway, I spoke to as many teachers as I could. I spoke to retired teachers. I spoke to,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
and the teachers that I spoke to, most of them, if they sub in the school district that they retired from because they're comfortable.
Right, of course.
When I spoke to a teacher that lives right here, right down the road from Idlehour, she subs in West Babylon. I said, if Connecticut raised their pay to $150, would you sub there? She said, no. I like working in West Babylon because that's, and she, the West Babylon only pays $110. But she wouldn't, because she's comfortable. And I spoke to a couple of other retired teachers that wouldn't change their mind.
So you don't think that the 150 would attract,
If you're gonna pay $150, pay them all $150.
No, I don't know, I mean,
Is there a dollar sign on it?
I have done a home analysis, budget comes to $300,000.
With just the subs that we currently have in place.
Right.
At what price? What figure?
Moving through the system like that,
Sure, cost $300,000 more to get.
additionally. And that's not encumbering more for more subs coming here. That's just for the subs that we had in place last year.
at one point, so on a weekly basis, what would be your shortage? Like,
So how long is what's the traditional longevity of a sub in the district for 20 days? I mean, 20 days in the classroom, or 20 days in a classroom?
Every day, any classroom.
So the subs here, after 20 days, she gets $120.
No, it goes up. 130 plus 130.
130. You know, be generous from 100 to 120. I didn't see moving, I thought it was 110, so.
We're probably the lowest paid, one of the lowest paid districts on Long Island. And that's why we're having a difficult time finding subs.
Do you think that's the reason?
I
Everyone
think it's a
says,
big reason, sure.
you think so?
Connecticut pays $100.
these kids have to pay back their school loans. It's not-
I don't have any knowledge of that. I mean, I would imagine for kids getting out of college, money is an issue, so I would think that,
So Nick, what are you
But
getting?
everybody's different,
So
I don't
Nick, what are
know.
they getting paid in your district?
I believe right now they are at
They get hazard pay there.
no, it's actually not that high, 119.
119, and right?
Yeah, somewhere around there, it's in
Were they
the
paying your
teens.
district?
My district, it's in the teens. They were paying 90, they just went up to 110.
So
what
we're gonna
happened
beat
in-
them all. You got.
No, we're not gonna beat them all. The average, I believe, is 125. That's average.
And you're right over
You
your
showed us the
school.
average already last time. You showed us the
Yeah.
average last time. It was
The
like
average
last
in
meeting.
Hobart is
Yeah,
125.
that was
Your school is what?
122, 123.
You're, but not to go to 145.
So then why
Well, that was the idea of enticing people to want to stay.
That's long.
Because we felt that, we're looking at the records, we didn't have a lot of people
Right.
that
And, yeah, exactly.
that continued to come back. They came back 7 days, 8 days, but they didn't continually come back.
Right, so the incentive to
We had
stay.
a lot of people that didn't really regularly frequent the district. We were trying to entice them to
So
stay
what
by
you're saying
offering
is
an
it's
increase over time. A sliding scale.
So they don't have that to do.
No.
Hold on, let me ask you a question,
But
so
districts are
now,
going to this. Green Village just did this. Sayville has a sliding scale. It jumps faster than this jumps, but this is what districts are doing to entice substitutes. This is not out of the norm.
Is it that bad out there?
Oh, it's not.
Nobody can get subs right now, it's very difficult.
So-
We're hoping this changes that.
So Bob, would this go back to September, let's say somebody left off at 145, they start in September at 145?
No.
Or we go back to the 120?
That you approve.
Right.
So we go back to 120 and then during the year, they escalate to the 145?
Well, right now, we do have,
We-
after a certain number of days.
You have a sub at the same time.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, that's a leave, yeah, that's a leave term.
Bob, I know you mentioned that these two things we're talking about, the sliding scale, these were some of the things we already talked about. Did the CTA have any additional suggestions that you guys discussed, or?
Basically, conceptually, there was a question of, do we want to talk about the issue of PAs? You mentioned the issue of perhaps student teachers coming in to help us, are forming part of a consortium to train a select number of people to help us out.
Were any of those?
But we thought, again, initially, let's see what kind of results we get with this. Right now, we don't take non-certified teachers. This question taking someone with a baccalaureate in a different discipline and we bringing them on with a college degree that we haven't done in a while. What we want to do is keep the standard that we have now if at all possible.
No, I understand that. I was just wondering if, obviously we've made an effort to try to include all parties in the decisions that we're trying to make. I was wondering if there was input that was different from what we had discussed.
Not different. Again, this is just brainstorming, trying to maximize
the other people
the
involved.
personnel that we can get. As I say now, if we have to get 55 to 60 people on a given day, that's really rough.
So then why can't we do the approach of 125, see how long, you could start there, 125, you were increasing it $25.
Yeah, again,
And
this
then,
is
you know,
carved in
and then
stone.
if that
It's
doesn't
simply a
work, then
scenario.
maybe go to something like a scale. That's another idea, so you the 125, you'll get some bites, and then go to scale. I don't know if I'm comfortable offering this right away.
What if you stay where you are and offer a scale?
At 100, do the scale?
Right, offer a scale for coming back to days. Then you haven't changed anything. You've just tried to entice
So, but then
the
if you
increase
do-
of staying in the district.
So we're starting at 100, so then your top would be 150.
No, maybe it drops to 135, 140, but
I would be
whatever.
okay with something
But
like
maybe we
that.
start at, this way we see who really wants to come back. And then if we see that we have this group of teachers subs over the next couple of years want to come back, then we can think about increasing it to reward them for being a part of our district in the future.
Just my opinion. This is something that I don't like, being in the teaching field. My colleagues, people in the area, they say, Connect what? Why would I want to go to Connect what? They only pay $100. Before they even paid less. It's embarrassing. I don't like
Well, we're
that.
competitive,
But I'm just saying, it's my opinion.
But
I
we're
get them
competitive
back,
with the district you're coming
I
from.
agree, and it's like, why is Connect what the lowest paid? I don't want Connect what to be the lowest paid. It's embarrassing.
We split the difference, we go
$100
Yeah, but
is,
Sable is 110, so
it's insulting to a professional,
Sable is
to
110,
a
so we're
professional
not
with
that
a
off
master's
base.
degree.
What if we do
Sable
like
is
110
110,
in a slide?
we're not that off.
What if we up start 110 in sliding scale? We don't go,
I'll go
we don't go so crazy to start. We see what the reaction is. We can always up it more next year.
I'm okay with 110 starting.
We see what kind of feedback we get, who comes in, and whether those people continue to come
I
back
would start to scale
But-
up.
with the increase.
While we're doing the 110, I'd also like to look at, well, not, I mean, with the district, look at other avenues also to bring in subs. A lot of parents are home, they're teachers, but they never taught.
Parents without a degree?
No, they have a degree, and they have a
Have a
degree.
teaching degree? You have a teaching degree?
I don't know. But there are plenty out there that have degrees that are probably very
It
good
makes me
teachers.
think they don't want to
That
teach.
can read. I mean, there are different avenues that maybe, we would get more people, because there's no guarantee we're gonna get more people this way.
No,
I'll go with Nick with the 110, starting at 110, but I also think at the same time we're doing that, we'll watch to see who's coming in, and look at other avenues. You can get very good qualified people that are probably excellent teachers in the classroom, if they're following the guidelines. you know, and they have a week's worth of training, like you had mentioned, one of your ideas. Oh, it was brilliant.
That was actually something I suggested.
I thought that was,
I suggested some type
Okay,
of
all right.
workshop to maybe entice people.
okay.
So I don't want to disappoint you.
Well, that sounds good. There.
Okay, so we're looking at this sliding scale starting at 110 and going up $10 less each one, so that if they 60, it's 140.
Then we only raised it 5, I think we should keep the same increments. So 10, then 5, 5, 5.
What are you
So you
saying?
wind up at
110,
maybe
120,
110,
130?
120, 125, 130, 135.